I'm not really a sports fan in general, but what I do love is seeing movies about sports. I love seeing underdog stories come about. So of course, whenever there's a new underdog story, I was interested in seeing. This is of course an underdog story, so of course I was interested to see. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is OCD Movie Reviews. My name is On The Brinkcat, and today I'm going to review the latest animated film that came out, and that film is GOAT. This is the latest film from Sony Pictures Animation, who of course brought us the Into the Spider-Verse movies, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and last year's K-pop Demon Hunters. And this movie stars Caleb McLaughlin, Gabrielle Union, Nick Kroll, David Harbour, Stephen Curry, Nicola Coughlan, Jelly Roll, and Jenifer Lewis. A small guy with big dreams gets a once-in-a-lifetime shot to join the pros and play rollerball, a high-intensity co-ed full-contact sport dominated by the fastest, fiercest animals in the world. So first of all, I was pumped for this movie because of course, it's a new Sony Pictures Animation film. I love this production company ever since they did the Into the Spider-Verse movies. I think the company gets better and better with more movies to come. Not just the Into the Spider-Verse movies, but I love The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and I especially loved K-pop Demon Hunters that came out last year. I think it's a fantastic film. Will it win the OZD Awards for this year? We'll find out. So of course, whenever they're bringing up a new project, I was very interested, and especially that this is a new kind of like underdog story, a new sports animated film that's basically a Zootopia version of basketball. I was very, very interested going in. I think the animation looks good. I think the voice casting is good. Stephen Curry produced this film, who of course is one of the most iconic basketball players. And I'm not really a basketball player in general. The movie, it's called Rollerball, but it's basically the animal version of basketball. I'm not really an NBA fan. I'm not really a sports fan in general, but what I do love is seeing movies about sports. I love seeing underdog stories come about. So of course, whenever there's a new underdog story, I was interested in seeing. This is of course an underdog story, so of course I was interested to see. But also, it's a new film from Sony Pictures Animation, and I feel like the production company gets better and better the more movies they come. So I was interested in GOAT. Now, do I think GOAT is one of the better Sony Pictures Animation films that came out? I would say no in my opinion. This is definitely a little step down from movies like the Spider-Verse movies and K-pop Demon Hunters. But did I still have a fun time with this movie? Absolutely. I think GOAT is a very charming, fun underdog story that's very simple to enjoy. Easily the voice casting in this film is fantastic. Caleb McLaughlin as Will in this film, who plays a goat that is basically, you know, a small guy. You know, everyone is surrounding him going, he doesn't belong in the sports field. And you can easily feel related to his character in this film. And I would say the build up to his character is actually really well done in the film. You can easily feel sympathetic for his character because he has a big dream of joining this game. But of course, he's just a goat. He's literally the small league. And of course, the league in the rollerball games are the big leagues, the big animals that join. So it's easy to feel relatable to Caleb McLaughlin's character, and I think Caleb McLaughlin does a really good job voicing over this character. I love him from Stranger Things, and I thought he does a pretty serviceable job in the film. Gabrielle Union, who plays Will's idol in the film, who at first she's kind of a bitch in this film. She's very unlikable, but Gabrielle Union brings that voice acting to life, and I think she does a really good job as this character. And it's one of those cliche elements where she's like unlikable at first, but then she learns throughout the whole movie, and I think her chemistry with Will in the film is really good in this film. But definitely the best thing about GOAT is absolutely, you've guessed it, the animation. This is a very beautiful animation. Once again, Sony Pictures has knocked it out of the park with this Into the Spider-Verse animation, and I thought it works really well in this movie. I think the rollerball game sequences are the best things about this movie. Every single game sequences, it's a lot of fun to watch, especially on the biggest screen. I love the creativity that the rollerball games brings us. It's sort of like Rocket League in my opinion, where each track gets very creative and very different. And I kind of like the concept that this rollerball game is not like normal basketball, it's actually very dangerous. I think it's a very interesting stake that the movie presents us, and I think the rollerball games, they're a lot of fun in this film. They're filmed very well when it comes to the animation. That's when the animation really does stand out throughout the game sequences. It's a lot of fun in this film. And the story throughout the most part, you know, it's an easy story to root for. It's an underdog story. It's a story about a team going down, and you root for this team to come back up to the top, but also it's an underdog story about this guy. I do have a bit of a problem with the story as well and the flaws, but the story, at least, you root for in the entire film and you're not bored throughout this film. And the film definitely has some heart in a couple of moments. It definitely has some funny scenes. This is definitely a hilarious film. There is some really good comedic tension in the film. But just the action scenes with the rollerball games, it's really good in this film. And you have a very relatable underdog in this film. But I do think this is a bit of a step down within the other Sony Pictures animation films, like the Into the Spider-Verse films. This film definitely has a lot of issues. I think there are two huge issues with this film. One of the cases is that this film is way too fast-paced. It's a very, very rushed film throughout. Now, I know there is a lot of great fast-paced animated films out there, and I get it's an animated film for kids and family, so it has to go in that hour and 40-minute route. But there's just so many scenes in GOAT where the film goes way too fast-paced that I really couldn't catch on with it. Especially towards the third act. This is one of the most rushed third acts that I've ever seen in an animated film, where I'm just like, okay, there's no much time to get redemption or get attention. It's just something happened, a conflict happened, and then it goes straight away to the final game, and it's like, oh shit, that's the end of the film. So definitely this film does feel rushed throughout. And like I said, I get it, it's a kid's film, it has to be that long, but at least have a bit of a better pacing. But also this film doesn't really decide what it wants to be. Like, I really like the aspect where it's about a goat that is literally a small goat that wants to join the big leagues, but of course people are like surrounding that, saying, oh, a goat shouldn't play rollerball, he's too small. I like that story arc, and yes, we've seen that all before, like in Zootopia, for example. This is literally Zootopia meets Space Jam, you know, all that stuff. But I think that story is easy to root for, but it kind of like goes away with that a bit after the first act, and it becomes like a team that's like kind of losing and trying to get back to the top, and we've seen that all too many times before. So the story does have some elements where I'm like, I like this story better than the other story element. But definitely it's a rushed film, it's a very fast-paced film, and I felt like there are moments in this film where I'm like, I wish they could have touched on a little bit more. Maybe this film could have been at least like 10 to 20 minutes longer to flesh out more of the characters. It could have been better. And the other team members that Will counters on in the film, great voice actors like Kroll, David Harbour. I just thought those characters are completely unexplored. They're basically generic other team characters that we've seen many times before, and I wish they could have been a little bit more explored. You still root for them to do the games, but the characters just felt very unexplored. It just felt like, okay, they're just other team members. We're more focused on Will and Gabrielle Union's character. But overall, guys, it is a step down with the other Sony Pictures animation films, but I still had a fun time with GOAT. I think this is still a really fun family film for kids and families out there. The animation looks fantastic in the film. The rollerball sequences are awesome to watch, definitely on the big screen. The characters, at least you root for them to get to the top. I think McLaughlin does a really good job as well. Even though I do think the story is very rushed, it goes way too fast-paced than it actually is, and I do think there are some aspects where I'm like, I wish the film could have been explored a lot more. And the film can't really decide what it wants to be, either an underdog story or a team underdog story. It mashes them all together. That makes this film a little bit messy. But the story wasn't boring. It was still a story that I absolutely root for. I think the characters are great. And I think this film does teach some lessons for families and kids. I just do think this is a little step down within the other Sony Pictures animation films. But I enjoyed myself with GOAT. I think it's a fun, enjoyable film, and I think kids and adults won't feel wasted throughout the film. It's just a flawed movie, in my opinion. I would say for GOAT, I wouldn't say go rush, but definitely check this movie out. So guys, that is my review for GOAT. Let me know what you think of this movie in the comments below. Do you think this movie is GOAT? Or you thought it's shit? Or you thought it's okay? Just let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Keep contact with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notify for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.